And we are back. Welcome back to the Premier League predictions series. This week we are talking about all things Game Week 29, the smallest game week of the season so far, with just 4 Premier League games taking place this weekend due to the FA Cup quarter-finals. And if you want to see my predictions for those matches, then you can check out the other video that I posted yesterday morning covering the 4 FA Cup quarter-finals. But like I say, we have 4 Premier League games still going ahead this weekend. So this video is going to be breaking down my thoughts for all of those matches. But before we get into it, as always, if you haven't done so already, please do consider dropping a like on this video and subscribing to the channel if you're new around here. We are on the road to 2,000 subscribers at the moment, so anything close to that anytime soon would be fantastic. But without any further ado, let's just get straight into it. 4 massive games once again in the Premier League. Starting off with the earliest kickoff on Saturday, which is Burnley taking on Brentford, a battle of the Bees featuring the Bees in Brentford. Now, Burnley did have a fantastic result last week, managing to get a draw away at West Ham. Brentford, again, have been playing well, but haven't really been producing the sort of results you'd expect for the performances they've been putting out. So I can see this one being a really tight game. I think on paper, you'd probably still have to put Brentford as favourites. However, like I said, Burnley played really, really well last week, were probably deserving of their draw. It was an absolutely chaotic added time in that game between West Ham and Burnley last week. And I just think Burnley might get something out of this one. I'm not confident enough to say that Burnley are going to go on and get the win. They have got a very good informed striker in Fofana on loan from Chelsea. But obviously, as we know, Brentford have another informed striker themselves in Ivan Toney back in the England squad. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I very nearly went for a 2-2 draw. But I don't know. I just have a feeling this one's not going to be quite as high scoring as many would expect. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw and we'll see what happens there. That brings us to the only 3 o'clock kickoff of the week between Luton Town and Nottingham Forest. And, oh, Luton. Wednesday night was possibly the day that Luton Town got relegated. To be 3-0 up at half-time in a position where not only had they got the win, but they'd got the goals to put them above Nottingham Forest on goal difference as well, going into this fixture, meaning that a win over Nottingham Forest would put them 3 points ahead of Forest and put them way ahead on goal difference. 45 minutes later, the game finishes 4-3 to Bournemouth, and Luton are still 3 points behind Forest, and now obviously in a worse off position when it comes to goal difference going into this game. That now means that Luton simply have to win this match. Otherwise, essentially, they're going to be relegated because Nottingham Forest are going to be too far away from them. It's an absolute disaster for them on Wednesday night. Forest, obviously, as we know, have again been playing well recently. The likes of Origi and Hudson-Odoi, Elanga, Awoniyi getting back to full fitness, Gibbs-White. That sort of front four is starting to click at the moment. So I think there's going to be a lot of goals in this one again. I'm going to let my slight Luton bias get the better of me, though, because I watched the game at the weekend. Sorry, not the weekend. I watched the game on Wednesday night, and in that first half, Luton were brilliant, and they scored some fantastic goals. So I'm going to go for 3-2 Luton. I'm going to be ambitious and say that if Luton can get the win, the race for survival is still on, because obviously they'll then go back level on points with Forest. But if they go down now, they pretty much deserve it after what happened against Bournemouth. We move on to the late kickoff on Saturday. That is, of course, between Fulham and Tottenham Hotspur. Tottenham with an incredible 4-0 win away at Aston Villa last time out. So a really good position for them and a really good momentum builder for them. Fulham, of course, on the receiving end of a defeat. So they're going to be feeling a little bit down. Yes, they still played okay, but, you know, a 99th minute goal back kind of overshadows what a sort of poor performance it was from Fulham. So I think going into it, based off of what I've seen of the last 2 games, you have to favour Spurs in this one. And I'm going to go for a 3-1 win to Tottenham. That then brings us to Sunday's game between 2 sides that played last night, both in Europa competitions. West Ham, of course, in the Europa League, Villa in the Conference League. West Ham with a fantastic performance against Freiburg, racking up 5 goals. Aston Villa playing well, beating Ajax. I think it was 2-0 in the end. But most crucially, Ollie Watkins going off injured. So FPL fans, if you were unaware of that, Ollie Watkins did go off injured for Aston Villa last night. But just be aware that the last time that happened and everyone took him out of their team, he played and still scored. So Ollie Watkins may still play, but the reports I'm suggesting is that he is not going to be available for Sunday's game against West Ham. So when you combine that with the fact that they also lost 4-0 to Spurs last week, John McGinn's going to be suspended, Watkins is injured, West Ham just scored 5 goals off the back of, granted, a 2-2 draw against Burnley, but before that, some very good wins. I'm going to go for 2-1 to West Ham United. And that is going to be it for this Premier League predictions video. Like I said, there's only the 4 games to cover. We are heading off into the international break, but of course, I will still be back with my reaction to the Manchester United-Liverpool FA Cup quarter-final on Sunday. So get all of your comments in the comment section below as to what you think is going to happen in these 4 games. Don't forget to check out that FA Cup predictions video as well. Thank you very much for watching. As always, I'll be back with some international predictions coming up in the coming days. So if you haven't done so already, please do consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you very much for watching once again. I'll see you very soon.